There are people who tell jokes, and then there are people who change an entire nation's sense of humor. This is the story of Daniel Ndambuki, the man the world knows as Churchill, the godfather of Kenyan comedy. For more than 2 decades, his voice has filled living rooms. His stage has launched careers and his laughter has crossed borders. But before the fame, before the Churchill show, before the packed carnival grounds, there was a boy in Kitui. Daniel Ndambuki was born on October 30th, 1977 in Kitui County, Kenya. His family will later move to Machakos, and it is here that young Daniel's formative years took shape. He attended Machakos Township Primary School, a place where the seeds of his storytelling were quietly being planted. In the playground, he wasn't the loudest child, but he had a gift, a way of making classmates laugh, not just with jokes, but with the way he could mimic teachers, public figures, and even the announcer of the evening news. From Machakos Township Primary, he moved to Mumbuni High School. Here, his talent began to take a clearer form, but opportunities for comedians in the 1980s and early 1990s in Kenya, they were almost non-existent. Being funny was never listed on any career guidebook in school. In 1990, a young Daniel packed his bags and headed to Nairobi to live with his uncle. The capital city was bigger, faster, and full of voices, and Daniel wanted his to be heard. He enrolled at Daystar University, pursuing a course in mass communication. The move will prove vital. Not only did it shape his skills as a communicator, but it also brought him closer to the world of media, theater, and eventually comedy. By the mid-1990s, the comedy bug had bitten hard. In 1996, Daniel began performing in small theater productions, skits, and community events. He didn't start on the grand stage. He started in small halls with modest audiences, working for little or no pay. But his timing, his wit, and his mimicry stood out. His first big break came through the iconic TV show Ridiculous. The satirical program was a sensation in the late 1990s and early 2000s, poking fun at Kenyan politics and society. Alongside talents like Nyambane, Kajairo, Mdomobagi, and KJ, Daniel learned the mechanics of making people laugh on a national stage. Later, he co-created Red Corner, further cementing his role in Kenya's sketch comedy landscape. But it wasn't enough for him to just appear in someone else's show. Daniel wanted to create a platform that could nurture many more comedians, and soon that vision will come alive. In 2007, Kenya witnessed the launch of Churchill Live on NTV. This wasn't just another comedy segment. It was a full production, live audience, primetime slot, a blend of stand-up comedy, interviews, and cultural commentary. Daniel, now adapting the stage name Churchill, inspired partly by Winston Churchill's eloquence and presence, became the face of the show. Every week, Kenyans tuned in, not just for jokes, but for a celebration of Kenyan life. The show spotlighted everyday situations, local accents, and community pride. By the 3rd season in 2012, the show was rebranded to Churchill Show. It moved its live recordings to the legendary Carnival Grounds in Nairobi, and from here, it exploded. Under Laugh Industry Limited, where Churchill served as a chairman and CEO, the show became East Africa's most watched comedy platform. It introduced and propelled the careers of now household names like Eric Omondi, Teacher Wanjiku, MCA Tricky, Professor Hamo, Jemtai, Dr. Kingori, MC Jazzy, Chipukizi, and many others. For these young comedians, Churchill's stage wasn't just a gig, it was a launching pad. Many will tell you, if you can make them laugh on Churchill's stage, you can make them laugh anywhere. Churchill's vision was never limited to one show. He created Churchill Room, a spin-off giving space to edgier acts and experimental performances. Hosted by MC Jazzy, it became the training ground for many who would later graduate to main show. He started Toto's Corner, a heartwarming segment where children showcased their talents. Out of it grew the Churchill Kids Festival, a massive event drawing tens of thousands of children and parents together for a day of laughter, games, and family fun. Through the Churchill Talent Academy, he mentored over 70 emerging stars, teaching not only comedy but also branding, business, and stagecraft. Beyond comedy, Churchill stepped into entrepreneurship with the Pavilion XCV Club in Kitengela, a stylish venue that blended nightlife with local culture, complete with a barbershop, spa, car wash, and a restaurant. Every venture seemed to echo one thing: creating spaces for people to gather, connect, and love. Churchill was honored with the Order of the Grand Warrior, a state commendation recognizing his contribution to the arts. He received the UK Kenya Achievers Award for Excellence in Comedy in 2012. Between 2013 and 2015, his shelf filled with Soma Awards, Bingwa Music Awards, Kalasha, Cheka, and Sanaa Theatre Awards. He was listed among the top 10 most influential people in Kenya, a rare feat for an entertainer. Even international media took notice. CNN featured him in 2018. The Guardian credited him with bringing stand-up comedy to the Kenyan mainstream. But with the spotlight comes scrutiny. Some critics accused the show of occasionally leaning on ethnic stereotypes. Churchill responded by evolving content, integrating multiple languages, celebrating Kenya's cultural diversity, and encouraging socially aware comedy. There were also whispers of discontent, claims of delayed or low pays for performers. While Churchill avoided public back and forth, sources say he engaged privately to address not just financial matters, but also mental health and welfare of his comedy family. For a man whose work thrives on visibility, Churchill's personal life remains a fortress of privacy. He rarely shares family details, and photographs of his wife and children are scarce. What is publicly known is that he married Esther Wanjiku Macharia, and together they have 3 children: Jeremy, Makosa, and Zawadi. Churchill often hints in interviews and speeches that his family is his anchor, the reason he keeps grounded despite the constant public attention. He describes his children as his greatest audience and his wife as his quiet strength. In a world where fame often erodes privacy, Churchill has managed to keep his home life sacred, a decision many Kenyans have praised. Today, when we talk about Kenyan comedy, one name rises above the rest: Churchill. From a small town in Kitui to the architect of the country's comedy industry, his journey is one of vision, resilience, and community building. Through laugh industry, festivals, talent academies, and radio, he has built more than a career. He has built a culture. Perhaps his greatest achievement is not the jokes he told, but the dreams he helped others pursue. For every household name that once stood nervously on his stage, there are thousands of Kenyans inspired to believe that humor is not just entertainment. It can be a profession, a movement, even a legacy. In every laugh he has sparked, in every young comedian who dared to step up to the mic, Daniel Churchill Ndambuki'S story lives on. One joke at a time, one dream at a time, one Kenyan at a time.